Well, I'm the one that came before all of them.
She's got a good memory too.
Huh?
You're authentic. So.
Yeah, I'm authentic. What do I have memories of? I have memories of bar mitzvahs and weddings in Chicago they would come in on the train from New York.
Wow.
I remember that as a little kid. I remember staying at my Aunt Betty's house on Hawthorne Lane, which is in Evanston.
Got some memories?
No, it's not. It's in around Kenilworth or one of those.
Yeah.
And I just went by the house the other day. It's still there. It looks good. And then I got married to this man, and we lived in Milwaukee. And so then our memories go to egg tosses. I don't know.
Yeah. I remember all the picnics because now I do a picnic for my husband's grandmother, who we just lost this last week, but she was almost 98, and every year we do a birthday party for her. So I've incorporated the egg toss and the three-legged race and all the games I've learned here. And I must say their family is not near as game as ours is. Some of them do not want to do the games that I want to play. But I loved the picnics when I was a kid.
That's a...
Aunt Kitty stories. Do I
Grandma
have?
Kitty stories.
What are good Aunt Kitty stories?
Well, her favorite line was, "Somebody looks stunning." Stunning. And
Actually, what's come back to me is every time I lift a bag and I have to make it lighter now, she used to tell me, "You let them pack it that tight, you're going to be sorry, you're going to have a bag back," and I do. Or the other thing was, "Why did you buy that heavy cookware? Why'd you buy that? It's too heavy." And now it is too heavy. All these things she said were true. But my other thing is, she always told me to buy small bananas. And I think of this every time I go to buy bananas. It's crazy. Or what? And remember, she said to us, and I remember this when before Mom died, Mom made great blintzes. She made wonderful blintzes. And when she died, she said, or before she did, she said, "Don't let them say anything about that my blintzes on the eulogy." And I made a mistake and told the rabbi, who didn't know her anyway, and he did.
How about as a son-in-law? Give it a little son-in-law point of view.
A son-in-law point of view? Go ahead.
Well,
This might take a while. I assume you have edit on there.
well, I met Kitty in Long Island after we came back from a trip to Europe, and I stayed with Fran and her family.
he was the boyfriend.
And Kitty would say, "We're meat eaters." Like I'd never eaten meat, I don't know, but anyway.
What did she mean?
I don't know.
Used to make
there wasn't even the word vegetarian in those
great
days.
porterhouse in those days. Without burning down the house.
No, they
She
were
used to drive a Cadillac, I remember that.
with a dog that bobbled its head in the back.
Yeah.
Little bobble dog.
Do you remember the last time when Becky was an infant? We went out shopping with Kitty and came back, and there was a mini tornado that had gone through Rockville Center. We don't get tornadoes on Long Island. You really don't. You get hurricanes, but not tornadoes. And it just blew down these 70-foot oaks. Came back to this block of desolation.
Destroyed the garage.
For the second time, and and we came home, and there was my father pacing with Becky. We had left him home with her, and I remember he was pacing. The electricity was out. We've been shopping.
Honey, we gotta stay on the Dubin side of things
Well,
here.
he's okay. He married her.
Yeah, it was Grandpa Harry's.
Who's gonna watch this anyway?
Everyone. Grandma Kitty used to constantly say, "You are so quick on the trigger." I hated that. Just hated
Oh,
that.
now we're gonna get a little therapy in
She used
here.
to say that all the time.
These
So
are
she
supposed to be
did.
good stories.
No, she liked that.
No, she was funny. She was the grandma who would break rules, which was awesome. So if you went to her house to go swimming and it was not children's hours, didn't matter. You got to go swimming. That was good.
Yeah, that's
Good grandma
true.
to have.
Yeah,
Go swimming.
yeah.
Wouldn't you ever go swimming?
She had a pool in her apartment building that she and Betty shared.
Never knew that.
At La Salsita del Norte. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
When she
Everybody's relatives have ended up there.
What about Dubin stories?
I remember.
Any
we
sister
done?
stories?
I don't have any sisters.
wanna-
Oh,
No.
you mean the sisters?
Yeah.
What do you remember about that?
Oh, I remember that my Aunt Betty was the most fun of all the sisters.
Oh, really?
Yeah, as far as I was concerned, she too was a rule breaker, and you could let your hair down around her. There was nothing really uptight about her, and Bubs was a terrific cook and a terrific baker, and that I do remember, and I remember she was always hiding it from Leo. That might have to be her.
Did you live with Bubs some summer?
Oh yeah, I got sick.
That would be Dick.
That would be Dick.
What happened?
That's just he exits when he's done.
He's done. I lived with her 1 year. I got really sick, and they took me to Arizona. And Bubs lived in Arizona, and Bubs, Ruby, Judy, Leo, with chickens and all that kind of stuff. I lived there, and they were going to move to California, and they had to kill all the chickens before they moved. And my Aunt Bubs went out and wrung their necks in night because they didn't want the kids, because I had a favorite chicken, so they didn't want the kids to see us. And she had to do, it was kosher, whatever it was, she did it. And she did it.
Why do you have to kill the chickens?
Because they had to move. And they're killing all, and don't ask me what they did with all the chickens. And I remember I went there, I was there for 3 months, and I still was sick and out of school. I had chicken pox there, I remember that very distinctly. I also remember I had to be 7, 8 maybe, something like that.
What was Aunt Fern like?
Aunt Fern? Well, Aunt Fern was probably more in my life as when I was an infant, and I can't remember too much of that. Then she had her own kids, and I do remember her as, you know.
I have a good memory of Aunt Fern.
All of them. I have, all of them. You don't want my
At one of the
adult memories.
picnics here, I loved Donny Osmond. I loved Donny Osmond. And Aunt Fern knew somebody who knew him, or a neighbor of his or something, and she gave me a phone number. I don't know if it really would have been to anyone. And I was sitting Indian style playing a game at a picnic and put it between my legs, of course, got up and left it. And she also gave me a jade ring. I don't know why I got the ring from Aunt Fern, but a jade ring that I loved, because I love jewelry too. So I don't know, I had a good thing with Aunt Fern. But I remember her being stern.
Yeah, and Aunt Jen. Oh, I lived with a lot of them. I came in one whole summer and lived with Aunt Jen in Chicago, and Uncle Mort actually made a job for me in his real estate mortgage type thing. I was supposed to be typing up mortgages. They're legal documents. You can't have erasures. I must have done this 100 times and ripping them up. I was 16. Jen was hell-bent. I came in as a blonde, and she was hell-bent on making, my hair was over bleached. And she gave me so much grief, and she ended up turning me into brown and told me all sorts of things. Hey,
Who's this?
and that's my granddaughter, Aubrey.
Well, she didn't get to meet any of those kooky ladies,
No,
unfortunately.
she didn't, unfortunately, but I do remember that. What else? Who else can remember? I remember at the candy store, at the baking candy store as a kid. That was a great experience. That was great. And Aunt Ev was just a wonderful lady. She was just a very sweet lady, and I remember her being very adoring. Aunt Sedell was very sarcastic, and I learned a lot from her, though. Yes. Oh, Aunt Sedell was a very sarcastic wit, but she knew all sorts of things about antiques, and she's very smart. And when I got older, she came to my house and held everything up and told me what everything was worth, whether it was dreck or not.
I went to see Aunt B. Remember that?
In
She had
Chicago?
a store. She had a store.
These are all my granddaughters.
Introduce them.
All right. This is Celia.
I'm Aubrey.
And
I'm Alex, the weird one.
Come up here.
She's got 2 more
And
granddaughters.
Joe
They're
is
not
there. Look,
Lots of
Vega and
grandsons.
Chloe. Vega and Clary.
We've got
And
5
Vega and
and
Chloe and Jonah and
I think
Yep.
we've taken up
I think
enough of
we're
your
done,
time.
yes. You are free to edit whatever you'd like.
Yep.
Yep.